Hey, welcome to the Community Redevelopment Board meeting. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Chair McChrystal?
Here.
Vice Chair Moser? Vice Chair Moser?
Sorry, present.
Board Member DeBerard?
Here.
Board Member James?
Here.
Board Member Laughlin? Board Member Manera?
Here.
And Board Member Whalen?
Here.
Oh, let the record reflect that Board Member James arrived as well.
Please stand for the pledge.
It's over here now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, those who are with us for the Leonard Lewis item, is everyone here? Would you mind if we went early, like right now? First item, or would you rather wait till the third item? Okay, then we'll stay right on the regular schedule. Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right. Any public comment on the motion to approve the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. So moved.
I'll second.
All those who approve, say aye.
Aye.
Or do we have to? I don't know. All right, comments from the public. Are there any comments on non-agenda items today from the public?
Chair, I have none.
Okay, thank you. All right, action item number 1. We approved the CRB minutes already. Action item number 2 is a presentation of the Community Redevelopment Agency Annual Report 2025. Thank you, Pinal.
Thank you. Pinal Gandhi Savda, CRA Director for the record. I actually presented this annual report to the board back in January because we had some new board members. I thought it was a better opportunity to present the projects and programs that are being implemented in the CRA. Typically, I present the CRA annual report in March because we have to advertise in the newspaper and make it available for public for review. For transparency purposes. So we did advertise in the newspaper and the CRA annual report was available to public for review. So today I'm just looking for formal approval of the report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the report or any ongoing programs or projects. So once this is approved by the board, I'll take it to the CRA board. Once I get that final approval, we'll upload the annual report on the CRA website and also mail the report to all the taxing authorities for transparency. And this is typically a requirement by Florida statute.
Okay.
That's the end of my presentation.
All right, moving right along.
So can I please get an approval of the item?
I just have one question.
Sure.
To clarify for me, the unaudited summary for the,
Yeah. So it just doesn't align with our auditing report because this report is due by March. We have to have it approved and submitted to taxing authorities by March, but our audit report is not done till May or June. So I always have to include an unaudited version, and then once the audited version is approved, I usually replace it in the report and update it on the website.
all right, thank you for clarifying.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Pinal's presentation of the Community Redevelopment Agency Annual Report 2025?
Board Member James, so moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, action item number 3, presentation on Community Redevelopment Board roles, Florida Statutes, Chapter 163.0 387, TIF expenditures, capital improvement projects.
Thank you again. This was actually requested by Board Member Frank McChrystal, so staff is going to present what are the roles and responsibilities of the CRB Board. I'm sorry, go ahead.
10 minutes, right?
10 minutes, right?
Awesome.
And it's in our Code of Ordinances, so I wanted to provide that language to you directly from our code. Whatever the Florida statute requirements for TIF expenditures, projects that are currently in the pipeline, any projects that are in the CIP that have been identified, but we haven't initiated any design or implementation. They're just projected to be implemented within the next 5 years. So just a general Florida statute requirement, the CRA is created under Chapter 163, Part 3 of the Florida statute to address areas identified as slum and blight and to promote economic revitalization. The primary goals are to strengthen our economic conditions, improve infrastructure, encourage private investment, enhance quality of life, and support redevelopment. The creation of boards, along with their roles and responsibilities, is outlined in the city's Code of Ordinances. It's the City Commission who has authority to create boards and committees as needed. These boards serve as advisory role without compensation and carry out duties assigned by the ordinance or resolution. And in this case, the roles and responsibilities are under Section 2-106 of the City of Stuart Code of Ordinances. The CRB serves as advisory board to the City Commission and City Administration. In addition to its advisory role, the CRB also conducts quasi-judicial proceedings as outlined in the Land Development Code. The CRB consists of 7 board members. Each commission appoints 1 member, and the 2 members are appointed by majority vote of the commission. The CRA director and the city clerk or designee serves as secretary. We're responsible for agendas, records, minutes, and meeting notices. The CRB elects a chair and vice chair annually. The chair presides over meetings, and vice chair serves in the chair's absent or if there's a vacancy. The CRB's roles include reviewing and holding hearings on minor urban code conditional use applications, approving those applications with conditions or denying those applications and requesting additional information. The CRB also reviews development applications related to historic buildings and makes recommendations to the City Commission. In addition, the CRB also makes amendments or proposes amendments to the urban code, which is in the Land Development Code. The CRB can initiate those amendments, or it can come as an application from an applicant. And the board can make recommendations to the City Commission. The CRB also reviews proposed amendments to the Community Redevelopment Plan, which is a guidebook that we use to for our projects and programs for implementation in the CRA. Reviews and recommends program projects, plans, and grant applications that helps implement the plan. That CRA plan was included in your agenda item. It's a very important document for the CRA. It's our guideline for how we implement all of our programs and projects. The board is also responsible for reviewing and holding hearings on zoning change applications within the CRA, making recommendations to the City Commission in accordance with the Land Development Code. The board reviews major amendment applications to previously adopted PUD ordinances within the CRA and makes recommendation to the City Commission, reviews and decides on applications for public art, approving those with conditions or denying them as outlined in the Land Development Code. Public art is one of those items that this board makes a decision on, and it's the final approval board. Conducts hearings and workshops as needed to carry out those duties. CRB meetings are normally held first Tuesday of each month. Special meetings can be called as needed. We need a quorum of 4 members, and a majority vote is required for action. Without a quorum, members can receive information but cannot vote on anything, and would have to adjourn the meeting if there were any action items. The CRA director provides the resources to the CRB as needed. For quasi-judicial matters, the CRB bases its decision based on evidence presented at the hearing, makes findings of facts and conclusion of law, and documents its decision in writing signed by the chair and secretary. The board is responsible for amending and implementing the community redevelopment plan, reviewing budgets and expenditures, managing capital projects, overseeing incentive programs, and supporting economic development initiatives. So our CRA plan was created in 1998, and we've updated the plan several times since then. Most recently in 2024, here's a resolution where it was last amended and adopted, which was resolution number 01-2024. The CRA can carry out any activity in the plan, but cannot do anything that's not included in it. So if there are projects that this board wants to implement, it's important that we amend the plan and add the projects and programs in the plan in order for us to implement those plans, those programs, and appropriate TIF funds for those programs and projects. The CRA plan focuses on reducing and eliminating blight in the redevelopment area while generating the revenue needed to carry out the plan. Our CRA plan has 5 main objectives: economic development, connectivity, infrastructure, neighborhoods, and redevelopment support. As far as economic development goes, our responsibility is to reduce blight, develop commercial corridors, support underutilized properties, and incorporate culture, arts, and creation. Connectivity means coordinating improvements to roads, sidewalks, landscaping, infrastructure, and open spaces, and encouraging alternative transportation options. Infrastructure, which means supporting downtown parking garage, stormwater and drainage improvements, and other public infrastructure projects. Neighborhoods, promoting and reducing blight conditions in these residential areas and working with private sector to provide a mix of housing types, including affordable housing, workforce housing, market rate housing, and mixed income options. Redevelopment support means encourage redevelopment-friendly zoning, provide economic incentives, and use tools like borrowing and land acquisition to achieve CRA goals. So those are the 5 main objectives in our CRA plan, and they can be expanded and into different types of projects that are identified in the CRA plan. In Florida, CRAs are allowed under Chapter 163, Part 3 of the Florida statute to spend TIF funds only on projects within the redevelopment area that help to eliminate blight and follow the approved plan. TIF funds are generally used for infrastructure projects, land acquisition, site preparation, and redevelopment planning. The key requirement is that all expenditures must directly benefit the redevelopment area and must align with the CRA plan. The TIF funds can be used for administrative costs, infrastructure improvements, streetscape enhancements, utility and drainage upgrades, parking facilities, affordable and workforce housing, property acquisition, site clearance, public space improvements, economic development programs, debt service on redevelopment projects. TIF funds are generally cannot be used for routine government operations. General maintenance, not tied to redevelopment. So if there are projects that were done prior to CRA and there's some maintenance required on those projects, CRA cannot pay for those. But for instance, if the CRA did a streetscape project and there's a maintenance required on those projects, the CRA can pay for those ongoing maintenance on CRA-initiated projects. We cannot pay for projects outside of the CRA boundary or expenses that are inconsistent with the redevelopment plan. CRA generally cannot give direct grants to businesses for operating costs, but we can partner with private parties or nonprofits for specific redevelopment projects or infrastructure improvements. For instance, we have the business improvement grant. We cannot give them grants directly, but we partner with them because there's a matching grant required. So that's a partnership. CRA funds, we can fund nonprofits only if the expenditure serves as public purpose in the redevelopment plan, such as building a community center, creating affordable housing, or improving public infrastructure. It must be tied to tangible physical development, not their general operations. And how we measure success in the CRA is, do we see a growth in our taxable property value, new business activities, job creation, increased housing opportunities, improved mobility, enhanced aesthetics and public spaces? This CIP is included in the CRA plan. It was adopted in 2024. The projects include downtown undergrounding, Seminole Streetscape, which is underway right now, Riverside Park Streetscape, which is a project just north of the drawbridge. That project is completed. It was completed in November of last year. Oleander Neighborhood Park, that's just recently got completed, which is in the Riverside Park. Gateway and district signage, we completed the first phase. We're working on the second phase for the horizontal signs, where we're going to have the gateway signage at the entry points of City of Stuart and CRA. Willie Gary property acquisition and construction, which is on MLK. We acquired that property in 2024. That property is in construction right now for Project Lift. Guy Davis Community Park, that's again in design phase. We're at almost 90% design. We expect to go to construction in summer or fall of this year. Stipman drainage improvements and Stipman sidewalk improvements, we recently received grant for that, so that's in the design phase. Again, these are all the projects that were identified in the CRA plan, and we have been successful in accomplishing all these projects. Southeast Dixie Highway, we received a grant for that, so that's in the design phase. MLK Streetscape project, again, that's in the design phase. That project will come to the joint board in April for presentation and feedback on the design. Downtown parking garage, Brightline train station, City Hall redevelopment, Osceola Street extension, Southeast Ocean Boulevard, which is from Federal Highway to Dixie Highway, stormwater improvements, property acquisition. So the last 4 or 5 projects that I mentioned, again, this is potential projects, and I know the direction has changed since we have a new commission. So the downtown parking garage and Brightline train station could be removed the next time we amend the CRA plan. The CIP is included in our budget. Every year when the board sees the budget in September, I include the CIP budget summary. So that also gets adopted around September of every year, and it includes all the projects that are in the pipeline and projected to be completed in the next 4 to 5 years. That concludes my presentation. Does the board have any questions?
Do you need a vote to approve your presentation?
No, this is just for information purposes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Pranal.
thank you.
We're very,
Do we have easy access to the report?
Which report?
This one that you just
The presentation?
shared with us? Yeah.
Yes, I can email it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think we received it as an email.
This presentation was, I'm not sure if it was included. Yes, it was included in the agenda.
300 pages.
Yes, it was included in the agenda. Right.
all right, moving right along. Action item number 4, Leonard Lewis, 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive, East Stewart Major Urban Code Conditional Use Permit, RCQJ. What does RC stand for?
Roll call.
Roll call and quasi judicial.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Resolution number 16-2026, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Stuart, Florida, granting a East Stuart major code conditional use to the property located at 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive, as described within the attached legal description, granting approval to allow an outbuilding to exceed the maximum size of 700 square feet, to allow the reduction of a rear setback requirement, to allow the maximum of 5 density units, and to confirm the impervious and pervious requirements, granting approval and allowing the applicant to obtain a revocable right-of-way permit for the use of the city's right-of-way for the existing paved access for Southeast Circle Drive, providing for an effective date and other purposes. Do any of the board members have any ex parte communications to disclose?
I have none.
I have
I have none.
No.
I have two. I have talked briefly to the development director and to our city attorney. All those given testimony, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by our attorney.
You affirm the testimony that you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated.
All right, staff report. Jody, our development director, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. For the record, my name is Jody Kugler, the Development Director for the City of Stuart. Tonight, I'm presenting agenda item number 4. The applicant, Louis Leonard, the petitioner is requesting approval of an East Stuart Major Code conditional use pursuant to Section 11.01.11 of the City of Stuart Land Development Code. The property is located at 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive and is also located within the community redevelopment area. Pursuant to the Land Development Code, public notice requirements, February 13, 2026, the applicant mailed notices to all adjacent properties within 300 feet of the subject parcel to provide details of the requested development and a date and time of tonight's public hearing. Additionally, one sign was posted on the property with the same information. In front of you, staff did receive a letter from Walter E. Oden II in support of the project. The parcel is 0.29 acres, outlined in red, and is located again at 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive within the East Stuart District. The property is zoned business mixed use, business mixed use zoning district encompasses East Stuart's traditional business area abutting the south side of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, adjacent to Central and East Avenues. The area is currently characterized by several vacant parcels, a few scattered single-family and multifamily residents, and a small number of businesses. The desired development pattern of the business and office uses with approximately 2 residential uses promotes a vibrant mixed-use neighborhood. The future land use is outlined per policy 1.87(1.k) of the City of Stuart's comprehensive plan. The East Stuart's future land use designation applies only to land area within the Stuart Community Redevelopment Area. The destination is specific to the historic African American district and its adjacent land areas. General uses permitted include all low-density, residential, multifamily residential, office, commercial, recreation, and mixed-use projects. On March 26, 2025, the applicant, Louis Leonard, the property owner located at 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive, Stuart, Florida, within the East Stuart Neighborhood Special District. The parcel is 0.29 acres in size and has a business mixed-use designation. The applicant, Leonard Lewis, is requesting an East Stuart Major Code conditional use to request the approval of the following deviations from the East Stuart Neighborhood Code to be allowed and approved by the City Commission. The first one is to allow the one existing outbuilding on the property to exceed the maximum size of one building of 700 square feet instead of allow the existing outbuilding on the property pursuant to Section 3.02.04.f.04 and Figure East Stuart 30 in the East Stuart Neighborhood Code to be used. The outbuilding currently is sized at 900 square feet. Also, to confirm the impervious and impervious requirements, to allow the rear setback of the existing outbuilding to be reduced from 10 feet to 5 feet, and to allow maximum residential units to be a maximum of 5 units. Also, with the approval, it would require to be approved and allow a revocable permit for the right-of-way for the use of the city's right-of-way for the current existing paved driveway access. This application, just so we had some confusion on the actual address, so this is just proves to show you that the address per the Martin County Property Appraiser shows this property located at 433 Southeast Lake Circle Drive. This rendering shows this is the existing building. If you were looking up flying over, where the star is was where the 900 existing outbuilding is. You can also see in the blue arrow is the public right-of-way that requires the wreckable permit to be paved. And you can see that there is a lake behind there, and that's the deviation for the 10 feet to 5 feet. And then also the impervious requirements of 75%. This is the current floor plan that exists today, and it shows 3 different units, which would make this a total of 8 units. And the applicant did provide us a conceptual outbuilding floor plan that would just take the 3 units down to a 1 unit. Staff has looked at the recommendations and have worked with the applicant and has recommended the following conditions of approval. Each parcel located at 433 and Southeast Lake Circle and 437 Southeast Lake Circle must establish all applicable utility accounts with the City of Stuart Customer Service Division. Applicable to utility services include water, sewer, sanitation, and stormwater. Just to give you some background on that is when Mr. Leonard was going through all the upgrades for the different properties, the utility bills were all combined on one parcel and they need to be subdivided out. Any construction work, including interior remodeling, exterior structural modification to walls, and changes to electrical, plumbing, mechanical, utility, or fire protection systems will require a permit. Most permits will require signed and sealed architectural and engineered drawings as applicable, and a revocable permit must be obtained for the proposed driveway access through the City of Stuart prior to final certificate of occupancy. Staff has reviewed the proposed petition for the East Stuart Major Code Conditional Use Permit and determined they conform to the standards of review outlined in the Land Development Code and are consistent with the comprehensive plan goals, objectives, and policies. And staff requests a community redevelopment, the redevelopment board recommends resolution number 16-2026 to the City Commission. The resolution will run with the land. Community. This ends staff's presentation, and we do have the applicant's representative in the audience, and she does have a brief presentation as well. Commission, not community.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and providing us with your time. I know that this is a weekday, so I appreciate your time. The confusion that we had initially with the address, you can see is presented, unfortunately, on the front page, but we're going to overlook that. So moving forward, even though Mrs. Kugler did a very good job in presenting the necessary facts as far as staff, we as the applicant must create a record because this is a quasi-judicial proceeding, and therefore we have to go through some things over again. I sincerely apologize, but if we don't present it, it's considered not presented. So the property is located, as we already noticed, 433 Southeast Lake Circle inside of the East Stuart neighborhood, which is a CRA, and therefore we're in front of the Community Redevelopment Board as our recommending body. The parcel is 0.29 acres and has a business mixed-use zoning designation, and it allows for quite a bit of uses: single-family, duplex, multifamily, and accessory dwelling units. As discussed, we have various things that are being asked for that are quote-unquote deviations from the East Stuart neighborhood code. One is that the out parcel that is in the circle is indeed 900 square feet instead of the maximum 700. Here's where we add some detail. Under the code, you're allowed 2 outbuildings of 700 square feet each. Mr. Leonard only has 1 at 900 square feet. So while it looks like he's overdoing the maximum, he's actually doing less than what's allowed under the code. Additionally, we have a little issue with the setback on that back side. It should be 10 feet. It is 5. This is an existing structure, and therefore we're asking for some relief from that. Additionally, as you've noticed, the parking area to basically the east that connects with that right-of-way is indeed encroaching into that city right-of-way, and that's why you have the need for a revocable use of that right-of-way via the revocable permit. That's something we will absolutely apply for after this particular conditional use is approved. Additionally, we have another couple of items. So we did provide a survey. There was some question as to whether this particular lot had enough impervious versus pervious surface area. We do indeed have enough impervious surface area. We meet that requirement. So we demonstrated that by providing the survey that is a part of this agenda. So that's not asking for any relief. That is simply stating we meet it, here's the proof, right? Then finally, and this is where it gets a little interesting, unfortunately, Mr. Leonard has had a series of unfortunate events. You know, the children's story where it was a series of unfortunate events. Well, Mr. Leonard unfortunately had some of those events occur. Based off of my narrative, which is in your all's packet, in 2021, he was provided a building permit. In the notes of that building permit, in November, there was a note that said he needed to get conditional use approval, or at least a zoning approval of some kind. But the building permit was then issued in December. So being not aware of the implications of that, Mr. Leonard thought he had a building permit, thought he had the capacity and the ability and the permit to continue on with his building. So he did. In 2021 through 2022, he built his building, which is the outbuilding in the back there in the circle, and thought everything was fine and had all the inspections done, and then was not granted a certificate of occupancy. So that is why we're here. In the meantime, fast forward. In September of 2024, the city of Stuart decided to do a zoning in progress, which changed the density availability of his property. Initially, he would have been able to get 7 units under a conditional use approval, but with that change in September of 2024, it's now only 5. There are other things that occurred throughout that intervening time, but we're finally here in front of you to fix it all, to get the conditional use we need to get, to make the 3 units into 1 unit so that Mr. Leonard can enjoy his property and go forward and be well, okay? So that is the history that's in my narrative. That's permit history. I just summarized that. As you notice, the floor plan right now has, in theory, 3 units, right? You've got kitchenettes, you've got bathrooms, et cetera. So this is what was approved in that 2021 building permit that was issued. We talked about the various items that are required. Rear setback has to be 10 feet. Impervious area cannot exceed a maximum of 75% on the lot area. The 2021 residential density was capped at 17 units without a conditional use approval and 30 units with a conditional use approval, but then that changed in September of 2024 when it became 20 units per acre with a conditional use approval. You see how that worked? And then figure ESN 30 as to the outbuildings, stating that he can indeed have 2 at 700 square foot each, but he's only asking for 1 at 900 square feet. There's the ordinance that happened due to the ZIP, September 2024. He submitted a conditional use approval in March of 2025 in an attempt to fix this. So prior to my coming on board, prior to this particular conditional use approval. However, unfortunately, it identified 7 units of density because that was potentially what was available. relief from parking, relief from density, relief from porch requirements, but those are no longer issues that need to be dealt with. And of course, things changed, so we're here for 5 units of density. So we had to amend that conditional use approval, so we brought the one we're at today. Okay? So for you and as the Community Redevelopment Board, there are various factors that have to be reviewed per code. The factors are come from section 11.0111, and they are in my narrative. I'll summarize what's up there. The proposed use cannot be contrary to the established land uses in the immediate area. So cannot be contrary. The proposed use would not significantly depart. It has to be shown that the proposed use will not significantly depart from the densities or intensities of uses in the surrounding area. And thereby it cannot increase or overtax the load on public facilities. I'm paraphrasing, but the section is in the code and it will be summarized on the screen. The proposed use will not be contrary to the future land use designation and will not have an adverse effect on the goods, policies, and objectives of the comprehensive plan. This is where it gets dry. I'm sorry, I do have to go through the code, so just bear with me. The existing district boundaries are have to be shown to be illogically drawn, or at least found by you all as a factor that you all must consider. The proposed use will not create or excessively increase traffic congestion. The proposed use will not create drainage or stormwater quality problem. The proposed use will not significantly reduce light or air to adjacent areas. The proposed use is less burdensome on neighboring properties and on public infrastructure than uses permitted by right in the district. And the proposed use is not out of scale with the uses permitted by right in the district, and there are no other adequate sites for the proposed use in the district in which the proposed use is permitted. So that's a lot of words for a lot of factors that you are required to consider. Additionally, on top of those factors, you are also required to basically consider additional items. Ingress and egress to the property and the proposed structures to be located thereon, including considerations of automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow, and control. Off-street parking and loading areas, including consideration of economic impact thereof on adjacent properties. Refuse and service areas, utilities, screening and buffering, signage, exterior lighting, required yards and open spaces, and height of proposed structures. So that's a lot, but we're gonna kind of condense those items, and I'm gonna try and keep it as brief as possible as to how this particular conditional use approval meets the factors that you all need to find. So the proposed use is not contrary. So I'm gonna go back to our little handy dandy aerial. Within approximately 100 feet northeast of the property, adjacent to Lake Street, there is a duplex. Approximately 150 feet due north of the property, adjacent to Martin Luther King Boulevard, there is a mixed-use store and office. Doesn't show it as well here, but you get the gist. Within approximately 190 feet of the property, so still within 200 feet. At the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Southeast East Avenue is a multifamily apartment building with 10 units, 10 residential units. Approximately 230 feet, so now we're getting a little further beyond 230 feet northwest of the property is a mortuary, crematorium adjacent to Martin Luther King Boulevard. Within approximately 210 feet of the property, across the lake, to the southwest is a duplex, also adjacent to Southeast Lake Street. To the south and across Southeast Lake Street, or Lake Circle Drive, excuse me, there is a quadplex and a duplex and a church. All other lots within 250-foot radius of the property are either vacant residential or single-family homes. So we have quite a few factors that you need to consider regarding, is this a contrary use? Is this an overburdensome use? Is this something that's going to put heavy, issue on taxes or public facilities as compared to what's surrounding it? Given these uses within a 250-foot radius, adding one more unit than the code allows to this property and giving the dispensations of setback relief and driveway relief and some of those other things are not going to increase public load, are not contrary to the uses surrounding it, is generally innocuous. So I'm going to fast forward to another factor, the factor regarding whether this particular use has an adverse effect on the goals, policies, and objectives of the comprehensive plan. I've skipped over 3 or 4 factors because my narrative discusses them. Additionally, it's relatively self-explanatory. So the goal statement for the East Stuart Overlay Zoning District is to address the unique and special land use and related development issues of this neighborhood, right? Objective 1D1, East Stuart Special Studies District, to reduce substandard housing conditions, increase affordable housing opportunities, improve infrastructure and safety conditions, and provide for land use regulations that reflect and strengthen the neighborhood character. Note, to reduce substandard housing conditions, increase affordable housing opportunities, improve infrastructure and safety conditions. We are, by this conditional use approval, if you all decide to recommend approval, you are adding at least one more usable, affordable unit that would not be there otherwise. Under this current code, Mr. Leonard could have 4 dwelling units on his site without a conditional use approval. We are asking for one more conditional use approval to get this property into compliance and to cease the line of unfortunate events. Okay? So given those statements, we believe that the criteria and the factor of this particular use goes towards and fulfills the requirements and goals of the comprehensive plan. We believe we fit that. Let's see here. I think we've gotten through quite a bit of my presentation, so we're gonna keep moving. Ingress and egress and off-street parking and loading areas. So those are items to be considered that we have not yet hit yet. And as we discussed as was mentioned by staff, there are approximately, there's a paved area for parking. There's that abuts and goes into the public right-of-way. And there's approximately 7 parking spaces on the lot as a whole. Therefore, we would assert that we fulfill those criteria and that there is no safety and/or other concern other than we need to get a revocable permit to continue using that right-of-way. Okay, signage and exterior lighting. There has been no issue. Once again, this particular building has been in existence since 2022 in its entirety. There has been no complaints that Mr. Leonard or I have been made aware of any issue with signage or exterior lighting. We, of course, meet the impervious and pervious ratio that we are required to meet, and the height of the proposed structure is not anything more than is around it. Given all of those, and there's the list of various uses within a 250 square foot radius of the property, given the fact that this is not anything extravagant that we're asking for, given that we are fulfilling the requirements and the factors that need to be reviewed, additionally, one more factor. We are indeed up against a lake. There are, of course, some level of drainage and stormwater that needs to be taken into account here, correct? Because there's water. Once again, this existing structure has been up since 2022. There has been no complaints and/or information provided to Mr. Leonard or myself that there has been any drainage or water quality issues, either from the city or anywhere else. So that is not a problem as well. All right, I tried to keep it as short, as sweet as possible so that you all could ask questions and get into the details if you'd like. My narrative is very in-depth as far as each factor and each consideration. So if you do want to look at what I wrote, it's in there, but I am happy to answer any questions. And one of my witnesses, Rosie Shepard, unfortunately couldn't make it until now, but if you would like to have questions answered by her, we can get her sworn in, and we can make that happen. Any questions?
I have
Any questions for the applicant? Want to go ahead and swear in Rosie Shepard right now, just in case? Lee?
No objection.
You can stay there and raise your right hand. You affirm the testimony that you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, any questions for the petitioner from board members? Yes?
I do. Just in general, I'm trying to get a better grasp of what's actually being presented here. Are we talking about primarily the outbuilding or primarily the entire structure that will be residential units as well?
Unfortunately, it's both. So we have the setback that is outbuilding only.
Right.
We have the size of the outbuilding only. We have the pervious and impervious demonstration, which is the entire site.
Mhm.
We have the various factors as to whether you believe you all should recommend approval. That's as to the entire site. We also have the density. That's the entire site. I believe there was one more factor. Let me look really quick. The right-of-way permit, the revocable right-of-way permit is, of course, only as to the areas where the driveway, the existing driveway accesses are impacting or in the right-of-way. So it's both.
So for the outbuilding will not be used as a residential unit, correct?
So the outbuilding will be used as one residential unit when all this is said and done. What was originally contemplated, going back to that floor plan, what was originally contemplated back when, there was a little bit more ability to do density, you had 3 units, and that's what's existing on the property currently. But with the change and with some other things that went on, the history that I explained, the way to get this property into compliance is to turn this into one dwelling unit so that we can have the dwelling units that are existing on the property and have this outbuilding serve its original purpose. I'm trying to get to the proposed, it's not in mine, but would you mind putting up the proposed conceptual plan, floor plan, that we are expecting to turn the existing into once we have approval for this conditional use?
While she's doing that, what would be the square footage per unit in the proposed plan?
So
for the
the
residential
proposed, this is the proposed plan. It'll be 1 unit. There will be multiple bedrooms, unlike in the original version. The original version had a bedroom per unit. This one will have, I believe, 4 bedrooms, if I'm not mistaken, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchenette. As far as the square footage, it will remain the square footage that it is right now, which is 900 square feet.
Per unit?
That's going to be 1 unit.
1 unit? Each
1 unit
is-
for 900 square feet inside of the current outbuilding. Yes, sir.
And what about the rest of the building? There's going to,
So the 3 units that it is right now will be revised inside. There will be a remodeling
okay.
inside of that 900 square feet to make 1 unit. And it'll look somewhat like this. This is conceptual. We're going to have to go through a building permit again to make sure that we meet the building code criteria for this expected structure. The existing structure you're seeing on the top portion is that house, that single family home that is attached. Or
Okay.
not attached, but it's close.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I ask, how are the structures on site being used now?
Currently, they are all single family and or duplex residential.
Okay. Are they being rented?
From what I recall, Rosie, would you mind answering this question? You have a bit more information than I do. Come
You have
on.
to go to the mic, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
with the tremendous need for housing, he has a long list of people that would love to rent them, but no, there are no tenants in place.
Okay, thank you.
If staff could reiterate also, right now, the outbuilding does not have a certificate of occupancy, so Mr. Leonard was not able to occupy the units, and he has not have them occupied.
So
Okay.
it's been sitting vacant since 2022 because it cannot, I mean, there's been some discussion and there's been some other things that have gone on, but it has not been a valuable asset to the property because of that lack of CO.
Is there access to the back building? They have to have the circuitous route around the
Yes,
outside of the building?
there is access via,
Okay.
if we go back to my slides. Yes, so you'll see in the northeastern portion, I keep forgetting if there's an actual, oh, there is one, haha, right here. There is that parking area, that's the right-of-way that provides access all the way down. And then there's the sidewalk that allows access to the outbuilding, which will be our one dwelling unit when all is said and done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a couple questions.
Of course.
Mr. Leonard, Ms. Shepherd, feel free to jump in if whoever's best suited to answer this, but when was the owner or builder first put on notice of the zoning issue, subsequent to the permit being issued?
I came in a little late to this game, so I will have to have Rosie, I believe, or Mr. Leonard answer that question. Please come up to the mic.
Would you repeat the question, sir?
Yes, sir. My understanding is the permit was issued inadvertently or incorrectly, and that there was a holdup with the zoning. When were you first made aware of that holdup with the zoning or problem?
Well, actually, we put in for the permit as in 22. We brought the plans in, they reviewed them, and they gave me a permit. When they gave me a permit, I assumed that everything was ready to go. You don't give someone a permit and then ask them to go get a conditional use. I've been in building for 50 or 60 years. And I learned when I walk up there and pay the condition, pay everything that you ask for and give me my permit, we're ready to start building. So we put in for it in 22 and we built the building. And also I must say, we built everything done it according to what you asked for on the plans. Those plans, we went directly, didn't deviate from any of the plans. You reviewed them. We done everything. We were 2 hours from completion. The permit expired. We went back and got another 3 months permit. What we then hadn't finished up was the fire sprinkle. The fire sprinkle people also had a permit. The original permit had ran out, but the fire sprinkle people had a permit to go ahead and complete it. We was 2 hours, not 2 months or 2 days, 2 hours from completion. And we done everything according to what you asked for. We didn't go around and do anything different from what was on the plan, and you reviewed it.
If I may, just really quick, Mr. Leonard, and Mrs. Rosie, if you have information. So you were told to get a conditional use approval when?
Well, believe it or not, I hadn't heard of no conditional use. There is no way in which it didn't make no sense that I would go and build a building and want a conditional use. I would have broke it down and have done it on the 437 property. I would have built another room on the addition of 433. I would have added on there because building is what I do. I had never heard of no conditional use, period.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard. So to try and also answer Mr. Deberard, I think in May of 2025, if I'm correct, there was a conditional use application done on behalf of Mr. Leonard prior to me coming on board. Oh, that's the wrong Going back, could you please put up my slides, please? Thank you, Mrs. Kugler. In my slides, I have a date that is the original conditional use approval that was brought in prior to my getting involved. And it states, I believe, May of 2025, but I'm going to, actually March, there we go, conditional use approval on or about March 26, 2025, and I have a picture of it there with the various requests, done in a box, where Mr. Leonard asked for various things, including relief from parking, relief from density, and and the permit 21 items. So, according to Mr. Leonard's testimony, he didn't know up until March 26, 2025, when he put in a conditional use approval request.
If I may add. So when I initially, so at one time this property was for sale. And when I initially took the listing, I reached out to Darcy Pilarski, who was at the building department. I also own a roofing company, so I understand if something does not go well with permitting, if one of my documents or even a method of installation is not correct, I have to resubmit at the permit. I had a permit in my hand with all of these inspections from pre-pour all the way to, the sheathing, everything had passed, written pass, electrical pass, wire lath pass. At what point, so I assumed, oh, we're good to go. And Darcy had said verbally on the phone to me, it'll be no problem for you to reopen this permit. So, and, why wasn't it red tagged at that time? If I was doing something that the town didn't like with my roofing company, if I shouldn't have been proceeding with something, I am typically red tagged and know immediately, there's no question, building stops. So that, was of concern.
So we are here to, like I said, fix a series of unfortunate events. One that started back in 2021 and is just now coming to the point of potentially being able to be resolved with your all's help. Upon review of the factors required under the code, upon the review of the facts of this matter, we would ask that you give a recommendation of approval for the various items identified, specifically allowing one extra dwelling unit on this property, allowing a relief from a 10-foot setback to a 5-foot setback on that back portion, allowing a ability to do a revocable right-of-way permit, demonstration and, a final yes, a final blessing of the impervious surface area. And then finally, allowing for that existing outbuilding, which admittedly for one outbuilding is too big, but is smaller than the overall square footage for two, which is allowed under the code. We are here today to ask you for that relief so that we can then go on to a building permit to create the one dwelling unit that was presented earlier. But we can't do that unless we get through this.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The question I asked originally was, when were you guys first made aware there was an issue?
Based off of the testimony provided, he was not aware until there was an application.
We resubmitted for the permit to be reopened to be able to close it out, or we had attempted to, and that's when we were informed. So this is years after all of these inspections had passed.
That's what I'm
so I
driving
would
at.
say 2023 or 24.
24.
I want to say the first meeting that happened so we could figure out exactly what was going on. Was that in May of 2024 with Mike Mortel and Lee Baggett?
Yes.
And so that is in, we did have that sit-down meeting, and that's when he was informed about needing
Yeah, but
to do
the
fire
building-
sprinklers, right?
Yes, the building was finished. When I first heard anything about the condition of use, the building was finished.
And-
All was left was the fire sprinkler.
And-
Other than that, we hadn't heard anything about it.
And then they had him pull a fire sprinkler permit at that time for the units that are existing.
Okay, understood. And these units have sat empty. They have not been utilized as residential units since construction in '22. So you've lost 3 years of rental income
Correct.
as a result of the improper permit. The 2021 permit okayed the 5-foot setback and the 900 square feet, subject to the approval that you thought you had.
Yes, the setback, we had enough setback until the code or everything was changed after. Be honest with you, I think I should have been grandfather in. That's what we got our permit on, the setback that we originally started with, until everything was changed without any notice to me. I didn't know they was even changing it.
No, understood. And I am not in the construction industry, so I'm sorry if this is kind of a dumb question to ask, but as it sits, it looks like it's 3 smaller units, and the goal is to convert it to a single larger unit, but it's going to have 4 bedrooms instead.
Yes, sir.
And are those bedrooms going to be rented individually, or will be rented as one 4-bedroom house duplex?
Well, actually, we're probably just gonna make it one. I have decided to probably move my grandkids in there where they have more room for them. You know, they're young and trying to finish school and et cetera. So they will have something new, a sound building, construction, well-built. So I will probably move them in there and let them live in there.
Understood.
And just for your benefit, if indeed at some late, and that is not Mr. Leonard's style, nor is it, what we would condone, but if indeed someone started to rent out the rooms themselves, the city would have every right and ability to code enforce against Mr. Leonard or whoever was owning the property at that time.
No, thank you very much. Those are all the questions I have.
Anybody else for questions?
I don't have any. I have just one comment. Knowing the fact that our board is just an advisory, we make the recommendation, but the final say is not with us. So
Yes, sir.
I was here when you came before and made your presentation. So that list of unfortunate circumstance, I'm aware of it. And we do need affordable housing in our community. And it would be a shame to not allow it to go further.
Thank you.
I have a few questions.
You guys can say.
So what are the pervious versus non-pervious numbers exactly?
So it's in the survey that was attached as a part of the
That's what you
application.
said, but what are they? Can I get the numbers? So
Yes,
it's at least 25%? Is it 25% on the nose?
Well, actually, it can, impervious surface area, I believe, is a maximum of 75%. So it has to be 25%
Correct. You can build on
pervious.
75%, but 25% has to drain. I get it.
Yes, sir.
So what are the numbers?
The numbers are on the survey that are a part of the application packet. I do not have a copy with me,
Does anyone know what the numbers are?
but I'm sure that we can pull it up for you.
So why are you looking for that? So I'm having a hard time understanding this. So the applicant is saying that I just heard here that the 900 square foot building instead of 700 was approved, and the 5-foot setback instead of the 10-foot setback was approved to get the permit. Is that what you're saying?
What I am saying is that the
Did
building,
conditions change after that? Is that what I heard you say?
the density has absolutely changed. The density availability absolutely changed in September of
But the
2024.
setback number, so someone changed the rules on setbacks from the time you got your permit?
So please come to the mic.
Original, we was able to put 7 units on that property with no problem. Matter of fact,
Now, just a setback, so from 5 foot from 10 foot to 5 foot.
Yes,
When did that
we were
happen?
at 5 foot. We was able to build that building on a 5-foot setback, original. We was able to put 7 units or 8 until the code was changed after the building
Okay,
was put up.
so you were approved for 5 foot, and then at some point the city changed the rules?
Yes.
After the building was up there? What year
Yes.
was that? Was that part of the whole redistricting or something?
It was. So there was and it says in that time frame when they had changed the code, if something is done to substantial completion, it shall be grandfathered in.
Okay, I got you.
But yes, from permit issue,
From
the
10
setback
foot
had
to
changed.
5 foot setbacks occurred after you guys.
Correct.
Okay, I got you very good. All right, and so you're turning this into 1 unit, so why are you asking for 5, or if the zip goes away, you get 7 units? Why are you asking for 5 or 7 units if you're only going to do 1?
Okay, so right now, according to the property appraiser's website, there are 8 units on the property. If we take away,
7.
or 7.
7 units.
There are 7 units on the, so the property appraiser says 8, I'm not sure why. However, there are 7 units based off of what's actually being done. We're going to work on that with the property appraiser. That is not up to you guys to figure out. But
So I'm sorry, in the 2 buildings, the outbuilding and the original structure, so there's like 7 or 8 rental units in those 2 buildings?
no,
Is
they're
that what
not
you're saying?
rentals.
Okay, but you said units.
yes. So
They're
originally.
not individual houses.
Yes, so originally, this was railroad worker housing, built in 1924, the 2 original structures, and they are both duplexes. He had one modified, I don't remember the date, but he did have modifications to the southern one. Now, on that, so those are 4 units. And then the new unit that he had constructed had 3 individual at 300 square foot
4
each.
in the original. Okay.
4
that's-
original.
that's fine, yeah.
Pardon me.
Yes, sir.
May I address the bench?
Yes, sir, of course. What am I looking at here, sir?
Well, if you'll see what the 8 units you'll see was signed by Mike Mattel back in 6. That was what I was qualified for until you change it. It says 8 unit. He signed it. Jody signed it.
So
overnight.
So there's a bottom line here. So this construction was going on during a time period when the rules changed.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
Building
okay.
was-
Now I understand it.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand. All right. So now the flooding, and you backing that building up to the lake there, because that's what it looks like from the sky. So your basis for you don't have a problem is you have had no flooding since 2022. Now I can tell you this: I've moved back to the city of Stuart probably 11 years ago. And in 11 years, there have been 3 events. Those events were either have a hurricane or a tropical storm, and we get caught in one of the feeder bands for 4 or 5 hours, and we get 7 or 8 inches in 4 hours. That's happened 3 times in the past 11 years. It has not happened since 2022. So to say you'll never have a flooding issue with that building right there is beyond my train of thought. So all my other questions are answered because bottom line, your 900 square foot was approved, your 5 feet setback was approved, and then they changed the rules on you while you were building and before you got your CO. Is that what's going on here?
Yes, sir. So to finish up with the impervious versus pervious, I believe we
Do you
have,
have the numbers?
Can I interject real quick?
Okay, thank you.
We're putting up a dispute that's not even an issue here today.
Okay.
We're not seeking 7 units. So whatever
Correct.
they're saying was
Right.
approved in the past, the staff has a different story, but we're not even getting, we're not even getting there. I mean, the issue is they're proposing 5 units, they're allowed 4.
Okay,
They have
gotcha.
to come before the commission and you guys to get 5, and that's what's at issue. The 7 or 8.
Yeah, and there's already,
red herring.
there's already 4 in the one building, and they're asking for 1 more right now.
Right, so they can, so
Okay, I got you.
they have 2 duplex, hold on, Rick. They got
Okay.
2 duplexes
Okay.
and an outbuilding.
Gotcha.
The issue is the outbuilding. They have 3 units, which is
Right.
7. They're going to
Right.
combine it to make it 1, so.
Gotcha, gotcha. My bad. I had this vision of them turning those 3 into 7.
No, sir.
Okay, very good. So the 4 are already existing also.
So to finish up with the impervious, or at least to answer your question, I believe that Mrs. Kugler had that up right before we changed to the aerial, and I'd like to go ahead and, I'm going to walk up really quick to get those numbers because
Okay, great.
because I can't read them from here.
Can we zoom?
It actually says 64.67%.
64.67%. Remember our maximum
Impervious is what? You got 64?
we have
Okay, very good.
Our maximum is 75. I'm going to go ahead and say it again for the microphone and for the people listening at home. 64% and change is impervious on that survey, and we have a max under the code of 75%. Therefore, we meet the impervious area requirement.
So we have a building that was legally approved when you started it and then became illegal because of.
Let's not use those terms because.
Okay, yes, sir. All right.
Regardless,
But now, at least I now know what to understand and why there's a difference between what happened here. Now I understand how it happened. That's good.
yes, sir.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Regardless of how it happened, whose fault it is, we're not here to play the blame game. We're here to find a way to make this compliant so that Mr. Leonard can use his property, but fulfill the needs of the city in having people treated per the code. So we're here today to hopefully have you all recommend approval on these changes.
Any staff response? Are you good?
No, sir, other than we did place a red line version of the resolution that was a little bit different from your packet.
Okay.
And I can go through each page. Some of it was just clarification on the address. And also some of the petition versus applicant. But I think they're very minor in changes. They're still the same requirements for the condition of approvals.
Any rebuttal from the petitioner to the staff?
We have worked on this particular resolution. These changes were brought to me ahead of time. I am okay with the changes that are indicated and have given approval via email. Mr. Lee Baggett has a clean copy if you all wish to look at it after Mrs. Kugler goes through the various changes.
I have one thing further, and this again is me being the new guy, but there were 3 staff recommendations about conditions of approval. How do we incorporate that into what we're actually voting on or attach that to the issue?
So I think I'll let the city answer that one.
Board member, we actually, if you recommend the resolution as submitted with the conditions of approval, that will follow suit with the moving forward to the city commission with those 3 conditions. They're actually outlined in your resolution as well.
Okay, so the recommended conditions are already baked into the resolution?
Yes, sir, that is on page.
Okay, thank you.
Correct, and they were not edited. They were not part of these edits that we talked about.
They're on page 11, just for your reference, that on the outline version that I gave you.
Thank you.
So if I may, and of course the city can correct me if I'm wrong, if you all decided to add other conditions, you can approve with conditions or recommend approval. Recommend approval with just approval, recommend approval with conditions, and or recommend denial. If you decide to recommend approval with conditions, those conditions would be potentially added to Exhibit D of the resolution.
Okay, are we done here? Any motions from the board to approve or disapprove this conditional use?
I move that
Permit.
we approve the resolution with the attached conditions.
I second the motion.
I have a move to approve and a second. You gonna call the roll?
Public comment?
Any public comment? I'm sorry, public comment?
I have none.
All right.
Wait, looks like
Oh, yes, sir. Shh. Come on, you come on up. Long time no see.
It's over there.
Yeah, my name is James Christie. I live in Port St. Lucie and am a property owner in East Stuart. And as far as I'm concerned, and many members from the community, we believe that this should go through without any problem. Mr. Leonard and his family are instrumental in not only East Stuart, but Jensen Beach and Martin County have a good reputation. And what he has went through with this is just unreasonable. And we feel that that should be approved without any problem. And we are for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad I finally understand it in my mind, because just reading what I was reading in the proposal, it was like, this is a big John McEnroe, like, Mr. Leonard, you cannot be serious, right? And then I find out how it all went down. That meant a lot to me. Okay, so you're going to call the roll?
Board Member DeBerard?
Yes.
Board Member Monero?
Yes.
Board Member Whalen?
Yes.
Vice Chair Moser?
Yes.
Chair McChrystal?
Yes.
And Board Member James?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Leonard, sorry for your duress.
3 years of trouble.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I do. All right. Any staff, no staff update? All right. I move this meeting to be adjourned.
I'll second it.